Before I really get us kicked off, I wanted to just highlight the importance of looking back and recognizing just where the protocol started in 2021, where it ended in 2021, and just the massive amount of stuff that happened. I think between, like Artem said, or Artem mentioned ACES post, we increased our revenues by 20-fold since 2020, but really we progressed so much more than that. And this is an attempt to capture most of it. I think something that I actually missed in the recap is kind of all the core units that we've onboarded. So before I start on the first official slide after this one, yeah, we've onboarded 18 different core units this year, which is absolutely Herculean. So yeah, let's get started. So Q1 2021 was pivotal. We had news of the Maker Foundation dissolving. Likewise, as an ex-foundation member myself, internally, many of the people from the foundation kind of broke off, and some left, some started their own CUs, others, became contributors. And so it was an extremely pivotal moment because, for the life of Maker, we've had the foundation bootstrapping us. And, the real goal was to step back once the protocol was self-sufficient. And I think that's what we achieved in 2021. As a result, the Maker Foundation dissolved actually ahead of schedule, which is incredible. We've also had the core unit operating model posted. And then shortly after, the very first core units were onboarded, with, I believe, real world finance being the first, but among the very first were Gov Alpha and some others, I'm forgetting. We also had, with the dissolution of the foundation, the sunset of the development grants program. And in its place this year, we've seen a number of different tools for doing grants through Maker, not through the foundation. So we've seen the Special Purpose Fund, MIP, come about. We've seen SES, the core unit that does incubations and various grants, come about. We've also seen various core units doing their own micro grants and granting programs. So thankfully, Maker is still really healthy on the grant side. Starting in Q2, we saw our first major technical upgrade with the release of Liquidations 2.0. And by the way, this is not complete because there were a lot of smaller kind of technical upgrades and things that happened. So yeah, so release of Liquidations 2.0 is kind of like a really big one, really big milestone for Q2. Then, as also continuing in their dissolution process, the Maker Foundation returned a huge portion of the dev fund holdings to the DAO, leaving themselves just a bit for operating expenses and whatever else. And so that was also a really cool pivotal moment to see that good faith from the foundation, and really kind of seeding Maker with what it currently has in its treasury, around 84,000 MKR. We've also seen improvements to our governance processes in 2021. In Q2, we had a new monthly governance cycle formalized in the form of MIP 51. This greatly sort of simplified things and made governance overhead a little bit more user-friendly for members of the DAO and voters, thankfully. We also had another large product launching in the form of the Flash Mint module implementation, which unfortunately doesn't get used too much, but it was really cool that it came out. Then in Q3, we had another awesome product innovation, AAVE direct deposit module, the D3M, which the D3M is not exclusive to AAVE, as you have heard. We're considering other ways to implement the D3M mechanism to really spread DAI's prevalence in DeFi. We also had the very first real-world assets onboarding through the Tinlake, Centrifuge, and also the Success Vault facilities. And of course, it's a crawl, walk, run for everybody. So it's been nice to see that we're making progress. And yeah. We've also seen governance launch vote delegation in response to kind of concerns about passing executive votes and not having a dedicated voting and discussion team around various issues and topics. And so this has greatly improved our throughput in governance. We have seen since the launch of this program an incredible increase in efficiency for passing executive votes, for discussing topics, for bringing up issues, etc. So I think the spawning of this class of DAO members has been very, very pivotal for 2021 as well. Additionally, in Q3, we launched our first official DAI token bridge for an L2 for the Arbitrum L2 chain. So that was really exciting. And then moving into Q4, as a result of like a lot of governance action and concern of the over concentration of USDC backed DAI, governance took a number of steps to try to reduce that, including onboarding new PSMs, factoring in the open market, the group that sets rates or proposes rates rather, did so through monetary policy, trying to make generating DAI from non-stables a bit more attractive, etc. And as a result, Maker Open Market Committee. Thank you, Long. And as a result, USDC collateralization fell below 26% from its high of, I think, 55%. So that was a really great success story for diversifying that backing collateral. But of course, it is back up to 45%, thanks to this looming market crash. Also in Q4, we had the 2-year anniversary of the launch of Multi-Collateral DAI. I remember that like it was yesterday. I can't believe it's been 2 years. I feel like waiting for Multi-Collateral DAI was like a 10-year wait that was packaged into 3 years. But nevertheless, we're 2 years in and we're still going and we're strong and we're growing. So it's exciting. Another pivotal thing we saw in Q4 is an infusion of vision by one of the co-founders of MakerDAO originally, Rune Christensen. He published The Case for Clean Money, advocating for a whole different class of collateral that should be prioritized, mainly ESG collateral that is positive for environmental impact around the world. It's also a subset of real world assets. And likewise, part of his vision included a redesign of MKR tokenomics. And really, he proposed many interesting ideas that I believe many of us are still chewing on and thinking on, and eventually, hopefully, we'll implement in an ideal sort of way. And I believe Rune is actually gearing up to post a refined version of this vision sometime this year. Also, in Q4, so this is actually really interesting. So Monkey Irish, who is the facilitator of the Collateral Engineering Services Core Unit, who is an ex-Foundation employee, presented Beyond the Maker Foundation, the past, present, and future at ETH Portland. And the reason I put this on here is because I feel like his talk really resonates with a lot of the people who went from being at the foundation, a centralized sort of company, bootstrapping Maker, to being a independently funded core unit amongst many at a DAO. And so this transition from like centralized company to decentralized organization is a really, really, really interesting story. And it resonates with me, and I think it resonates with many other core unit facilitators. And so we are really on the bleeding edge here. So a huge pat on the back for people that are engaging and really making a career out of their involvement here at Maker. We also had a huge amount of DAI growth. In Q4 of 2021, total DAI surpassed 9 billion, which I think 2 years ago was like everybody was talking about it. But at the heart of everybody, they're like, oh, I wonder if we'll actually achieve this parabolic growth. And yet here we are, just a stone's throw away from 10, and then hopefully 100, and then hopefully into the trillions. But we will see. Also in Q4, we encountered the very first collateral offboardings. So, you know, business is business and overhead is overhead, and layer 1 gas is expensive and has gotten more expensive over the course of 2021. And as a result, numerous people, I guess even really led by oracles being the primary cost, we started doing our very first collateral offboardings. And this is important because it's you know, it's a business function. And it's important for the maintenance of the protocol, and it's important as a process to kind of solidify and nail down. And so it was an interesting thing, a new thing that we did at the end of last year. I think this number is might be underrepresented. I think it's because a few of them were onboarded in late 2020, but my timeline brain is not perfect right now. So at least 15 core units onboarded within the year of 2021, with actually a total of, I believe, 18 or 19 right now. I'll get the exact numbers for the next call if you guys are interested. Q4 2021, we also had yet another amazing product innovation, the Maker Wormhole official release. And this was a breakthrough design to get around layer 2, like bridge deposit delays and all of that, and really kind of spawned this new way of thinking about how we can get DAI minted and transferred to other layer 2s in an efficient manner. We also had a unified auctions UI release, a brand new auction UI for just regular non-technical folks, which is really great. And yeah, amongst other things. So if I did miss anything like major, please DM me. We did try to cover most of everything. All right, so let's move on to the next part of the segment. So here's some interesting governance metrics that we pulled. And if you're interested in where we pulled them from, you could actually go into the presentation, which is linked in the forum agenda for this call. And you could just go to this slide and click on those links below. They're really great. The voting portal itself is really great. And also the beta.mcdgov.info site by Token Flow guys is really great. So that's been an indispensable tool for this portion of my slideshow. So total executive proposals in 2021, 48. All of them passed with the exception of the July 16th executive, which expired with an inconclusive vote. We had 307 governance polls. I'm not gonna go through all of the different types of governance polls, but as you can see, some of the major ones, we had 122 different ones related to collateral. We had 74 different ones related to MIPS, 24 related to governance, 18 related to risk parameters, i.e. variables, and many others. Another interesting thing is the first poll of 2021 passed with around 67,000-ish Maker with 25 unique voters, and the very final one passed with around 80,000 MKR, but about half as many, or a little bit more than half as many unique voters, 17. And this is, I believe, a result of not only increased gas costs, which deterred a lot of the smaller voters from voting in every single vote, but also this was affected by the introduction of the delegates, right? So we have a way more consistent cohort of people, albeit a smaller cohort, voting. And so a lot of these smaller voters who might have been voting themselves have delegated and have entrusted various recognized delegates to vote on their behalf. And nevertheless, we are seeing a pretty steady but healthy amount of MKR voting in the governance contract. But of course, our goal, one of our goals for this year is to increase that. As for delegation metrics, we have had 9 recognized delegates introduced in 2021 with almost 80,000 MKR delegated, all of whom meet the performance requirements naturally, because if they didn't, they just wouldn't be able to be recognized delegates officially. Then we have 9 shadow delegates with about 21,000 MKR delegated. If one of them wanted to be a recognized delegate, they probably could because they meet the performance requirements. But 3 somewhat meet them and 5 don't meet them at all. So there's obviously, just the differences in people's voting behavior. Some people are extremely consistent. Others might vote on just the things that they're most interested in. All right, so looking ahead for 2022, I wanted to ask the question of what are the focuses for this year? And since 2017, we've really evolved a lot as a protocol, as Maker. And so a part of how we put these slides together is we took all of the various core unit updates and roadmaps, and we kind of parsed them out and organized everything into the various higher level initiatives that are happening at Maker, which GovComms is working pretty hard to map out. And so here we go. The first big ticket item is layer 2s. MakerDAO has 3 different layer 2s that it is focused on: Arbitrum, Optimism, and Starknet. But really, it can get a lot more. It can get a lot. We can get a lot wider coverage with layer 2s with Wormhole. So I'm very excited about Wormhole. As for collateral management, we have parallel tracks for collateral management, on-chain and off-chain. And so off-chain referring to real-world assets, of course. They have a whole different set of requirements and complexities that on-chain collateral management doesn't. And so that's why they're separated. But the various things that are of focus are improved stakeholder alignment and coordination around these initiatives, optimizations around collateral management and cross-team work for real-world assets, a revamping of the collateral prioritization framework, improved partnership practices, as well as progressing the real-world asset deals frameworks and processes. For oracles, we have a number of different focuses this year: multi-chain L2 oracles, cross-chain bridges as oracles, gas optimizations, and referring back to Nick's post from last year, oracles as a service, which is a really exciting thing that I can't wait to exist. For technical upgrades, there's a number of different focuses we've identified this year. There is a looming governance contract redesign. Many of you know it as the Sagittarius engine. And of course, the details of which are still being discussed and figured out. It's accompanied by an MKR tokenomics redesign. We also have Deco fixed rate vaults. You're going to hear a presentation from Vamsi right after me on that. We have various module enhancements and integrations from the PE team. I highly recommend going and reading their core unit update in the forum. They list out all the specifics there. It was too much to add to the slide deck, so I didn't. We have various technical upgrades for auction keepers, infrastructure, and UI, including Liquidations 2.0 for flap auctions. We also have a number of safety and tooling upgrades in the pipeline, as well as something that the PE team has been teasing us all about internally is NFTs as collateral. There's going to be some interesting proposals coming up around that. Various organizational improvements are also on the horizon. We are a protocol, very technical, but of course we're also an organization. There's people here and there's teams here, and we all work together to try to achieve our milestones and goals. And so some of the different focuses on this front are optimizing and streamlining protocol operations, both from a governance perspective and from a cross-team working relationship perspective. We have a focus on reducing governance overhead where we can. We have a focus on improving core unit oversight. We have an emergency playbook and resources for emergency preparedness in the works. A GDPR compliant stakeholder database is in the works. We have improved financial reporting thanks to ACE in the works. We have initiative mapping in the works. We have stakeholder alignment calls in the works. And we have a general focus on just improved stakeholder communications overall in the works. That's right, Artem. And so for growth, another major initiative at Maker, we have a number of different focuses: improved partner relations, institutional vaults and how to streamline those types of deals, additional PSMs and D3Ms, more grants, improved message propagation, i.e. marketing and just talking about what we're doing, because there's a lot. Continued partnership development, of course, and more core unit incubations, thanks to SES continuing to focus on how we could scale Maker to be what it needs to be. For security, yet another really important initiative at Maker. Thanks to Immunify Security and also the tech ops and the security mindedness of the various technical teams here at Maker, we have operational security and bug bounty MIPS in the works. We have fire drills that will be happening at some point in 2022. We also have bug bounty programs being established, completely funded and operated by Maker. And we have operational security audits planned. And so this is going to help safeguard core units from things like hacks and exploits, and really making sure everybody is mindful about their OPSEC. As for risk, we have various focuses: risk dashboard improvements, including like various new metrics. We have a vault liquidation machine learning model that's in development. We have L2 risk dashboards in the pipeline. We have DeFi systemic leverage metrics planned. And then we also have a focus on risk parameter proposal process improvements. Also kind of in line with reducing governance overhead and increasing our efficiency and our speed at which we can react and change things. If you haven't checked out the risk dashboard by our risk core unit here at Maker, I highly recommend you check it out. The link there is in the slide, so feel free to check it out. We also have various number of user interfaces at Maker, with a number of different teams focusing on improving them and developing them. First, we have content productions team working on Community Portal 2.0, also known as MakerDAO.world. We have auction UIs being developed by the new SAS team, Sidestream Auction Services. We have various forum improvements, which will continue to be a focus, I think, for the life of Maker. We always want to improve the user experience of the people who interact with us on our public communication venues. And then we have a number of different voting portal, i.e. the governance portal improvements, thanks to the DUX team. Both interactivity improvements and tool integrations, as well as like an approach towards scalable gasless voting mechanisms and things like snapshots. And then we have special purpose funds, which there actually aren't any ratified just yet, but there are a number of them in RFC left over from last year. And so one of them is a legal fund, which kind of provides legal funding for protection of DAO members, for funding the legal opinions, and various other legal initiatives, basically. We have a Singaporean jurisdiction study for being able to source real-world asset deals from Singapore. And we also have RealDAO, which focuses on decentralized SPV infrastructure in the works. And I think one thing I might have forgotten about for growth is, more videos from content production on tutorials, how to interact with us, how to vote, how to basically, how do we educate our would-be stakeholders to come into MakerDAO and really participate. And yeah, I hope I didn't spend too much time. It was only like 40 slides, but yeah, we ran through it pretty quick. So yeah, thanks for listening. And again, I don't think we even covered everything in completion. There were numbers of things, like off the top of my mind, there were a number of different upgrades as a result of bug fixes, thanks to the PE team. For example, like the governance contract upgrade that happened last year. Yeah, there's some other stuff, but yeah, a million other things. So thanks for listening, and I hope that this is a testament to just the incredible amount of work being done by the numerous teams here at Maker, many of which, if we didn't have, we would be that much less fortunate. So thank you all. You've had a great year, and I'm looking forward to a fantastic 2022.